So we are ready to kick off this one. We expect fireworks as usual when these two teams face off. New York Red Bulls 2 get us started here. Central midfield, Shigenobu getting an early touch on that ball, playing as that true number 6, which means Arun Basulovic is going to get pushed in to the number 10 role. We haven't really seen him play that way here at Red Bulls 2, but if you watched him with those fantastic Georgetown teams, especially after Red Bull Academy players Brandon Allen, Alex Mule left to go to the professional ranks, he played in that number 10 role quite a lot as well on the youth teams for New York Red Bulls, playing more of a central role in the attack than he has so far in his professional career. Good challenge for him. Bonomo putting on pressure, went 68 minutes in the last game against Louisville. Flag up here on this near side. Our head official continues to play through it though. The flag's still up from the assistant referee. And finally it's called back. Well, it looked like Johan Graf was the one with the infraction. I guess it was offside called in the end as the flag was up. Graf, an interesting career. Came out of Bradley University here in the U.S., born in Texas. Went over, played in Sweden for the last 3 years before finally returning to the United States here this season. He's got 5 goals. A very well-taken goal off the post against FC Cincinnati in that 3-2 victory last week. Cincinnati, of course, riding high off their U.S. Open Cup run. This one's knocked away, dropped down by Rochester in league play. Flemings with some space to look up. Tries to find Bonomo's feet, and that one easily intercepted by Fall. So, for the most part, it'll look for this Rochester team like a 5-4-1. But to Frieger and Canardo Forbes some freedom to float. Forbes wearing captain's armband. Once again leading the attack for Rochester as he has the last 2 years so successfully. Basulovic brings this ball down. Excuse me, that's Velo. Fleming's now one-on-one, trying to cut inside. Back for Velo, room to cross. Looking for Fleming's feet. And a miscommunication. Scarlett missing his teammates' feet. Jordan Scarlett, his best run as a professional here in his first year out of Iona. Finally able to get healthy. And he's been locked in alongside now MLS player Hassan Endam, who made his Major League Soccer debut on the road against Minnesota United. That will be the center back pairing for this one as the wind starts to pick up here. Montclair State. New York Red Bulls 2, this is their first year of their new permanent home at MSU. They've done quite well here. 6-0-4. Excuse me, 6-4. They lost 2 games this year, technically home games as well, but those at Red Bull Arena. So 6-6 at home overall. The road record, though, has not been there for this Red Bulls 2 team as they sit in 8th place right now. Right on that playoff line. Trying to find that late season run that they've had both years of their existence to push themselves in the playoffs. The first year was a 7-game unbeaten stretch through June and July that helped them secure that 4th place finish last year. As Bonomo and Basulovic sneak by the goalkeeper, and Basulovic puts it in. Arun Basulovic gets his first start at that number 10 position, and he doesn't wait long. Just 5 minutes into this one, Arun Basulovic with his first career professional soccer goal. The interchange and movement from Red Bulls, so we haven't always seen this season like we did last year. Bonomo's experience coming back from injury, bringing a little bit more poise to this team, and both he and Basulovic trying to attack that below through ball. It was Basulovic with the finish.
New York Red Bulls 2-goal. Score by number 17, Arun Basulovic. Basulovic in the 5th minute.
What a great moment for Arun Basulovic, as well as for this franchise. A homegrown signing out of Georgetown. He played every single minute of the first 14 games of the season for this team. He's worked his way in and out of the lineup more over the last few games. Now moving up the field, maybe to a more natural attacking position, which this team could use. Vincent Bezecourt, the leading assist man in USL, still out nursing an injury for this Red Bulls 2 team, so a void in the creative ability of this team that Basulovic can try and fill in. Scarlett goes wide to the feet of Powder. Noah Powder, signing less than a month ago with this team, has now started all 3 games at left back since he's returned. Scarlett wins that header over Graf. The Rochester Rhinos, the 2015 USL regular season and postseason champions. The New York Red Bulls 2, the 2016 USL regular season and postseason champions. So tough to find consistency year after year in this league. That's what makes what Sacramento's been able to do in their short history so impressive. Rochester, they find players around the world. At times are forced to give them up. Christian Valesky, leading goal scorer the last 2 years, leaving this team. As well as another number of other important players from the last 2 years. DeFrieger goes down in a heap. And Kazu Shigenobu, in his first career home start, going to pick up a yellow card in just the 8th minute. Shigenobu went to preseason with the first team in Arizona. Played very well in a number of matchups against Major League Soccer opposition, as well as USL. But with school, it's tough for this team to get him in training every single day. And so he hasn't gotten as many minutes at the USL level this year as maybe the Red Bulls would have liked. Now that it's summer, though, they've been able to get him into a consistent run. He's now got 5 appearances after making 1 last year. This his 2nd start. Forbes goes to the top of the box, trying to lay it off. Camden into the feet of DeFrieger, and it goes just out. Shigenobu committed to Princeton, where Kevin O'Toole, New York Red Bull Academy and USL player, championship team last year, is headed as well this year. Henry Martin, Red Bull Academy center back, already there, and of course the alma mater of Jesse Marsh, the head coach of New York Red Bulls. Also always has to be mentioned the alma mater of Cameron Porter, arguably the greatest player in North American history. Diaz right now.
With Mike Watts Mondays at 9 p.m. on Sirius XM-FC.
Trying to get his tape
Also,
right.
don't forget Sirius XM-FC. Or the USL Game of the Week.
Diaz earlier this season injured a finger in warm-ups. And Evan Laura had to make an emergency start for him. It did not count as a substitution, but New York Red Bulls 2 weren't allowed to replace the player on the bench, and so they had to go 1 short with 17, which they actually will today as well. Douglas Martinez, a late scratch yesterday. So New York Red Bulls 2, only 17 players on the bench for this one. Evan Laura, one of those players. Arguably the star performer of the 2017 MLS homegrown game out in Chicago this week. Part of the All-Star festivities in a 2-2 draw with Chivas U20s. Lauro coming on at halftime for Jesse Gonzalez, making 4 or 5 superstar saves. So goes wide to the feet of Camden. And intercepts that long ball. Fans, stay up to date with all the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Sirius XMFC Channel 85. And don't forget, Sirius XMFC also airs the USL Game of the Week. You can go to uslsoccer.com to check those schedules. Plenty of news coming out of the USL team owner meetings that happened over the course of the week in Chicago, including an expansion next year to a 31-week, 34-game season, as a number of teams are coming into the league, like Fresno and Nashville. Junior Fleming's in a foot race now, and he goes down. Bumped quite obviously there by the right wingback, Jordan Dover. Dover, a Canadian, along with Bradley Kemden, his wingback partner on the other side. So it'll be Vasilovic and Noah Powder. Expect Vasilovic to be the one to take this. Red Bulls 2 conceded 2 goals off set pieces. 2 headers against Louisville last week. Rochester always one of the biggest threats from that. Red Bulls 2 make it count for them. It's headed away at the near post. Corner kick coming now for New York. Bezecourt, normally the permanent corner kick taker for this team, and is missing his 2nd straight game. They expect him to be back next week, so it'll be Vasilovic. To the top of the box, a little bit too high for Cutler, who still gets a strike to it, hits a couple Red Bulls 2 feet, and they are all offside on the top of that 6-yard box. No surprise to see a Red Bull team try and be a little bit creative offset pieces. Top-down approach from Jesse Marsh all the way through the academy. We've seen some be so successful. The Red Bulls and MLS play are absolutely rolling right now, pouring in the goals. 3 straight games of +3 goal wins. Sulovic was looking for Flemings, who was offside, then he plays it straight to the defender's foot. Fleming's just sitting on the back shoulder of Dover, praying for a ball over the top. And almost high pressure. Versus Gomez. Clear it out. Camden keeps it alive. Throwing in favor of New York. Forbes, Jamaican international. As well to body off Tanari. Great footwork there from Vasilovic to keep that ball alive, and Tanari is again stripped of possession. Now a free kick will go in favor of the Rhinos. Rochester Rhinos, one of the longest continuous running professional soccer teams in the United States. The last non-MLS team to win a US Open Cup. FC Cincinnati will try and be the next. Hosting the New York Red Bulls MLS side at home for the semifinals before a potential final matchup at Sporting KC or home against the San Jose Earthquakes. Forbes losing possession to Shigenobu. Junior Flemings immediately goes at Joe Farrell, and he's taken down head official, Charles Murphy, calls him over. He's already shown a yellow card to Shigenobu. Now he's going to show one to Farrell as well.
A yellow card has been issued to Rochester's
These teams
number 15,
do
Joe
not
Farrell,
like each other.
in the
That is
16th
just a
minute.
fact.
Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor
New York Red
of the
Bulls
USL.
2,
For
the
more
last
information,
team
visit
in the
NikeSoccer.com.
USL that they've not beaten. Rochester Rhinos. The Rhinos knocked the Red Bulls out of the postseason in a wild red card and goal-laden game in 2015. Conrad Pleva earning an early red card in the second half to help Rochester secure that win. Then last year, a couple back and forth games before, honestly, one of the craziest games I've ever been a part of. That 3-3 draw and penalty kick win by New York Red Bulls 2 in the Eastern Conference semifinals at Red Bull Arena last fall. Steven Dos Santos putting the team up 3-1, and then Dan Metzger earning a penalty kick in the 119th minute. Dangerous turnover from Flemings. Ryan James pushing this team forward. Cam Dam up from his fullback spot to the feet of Forbes. A lot of options in the box right now. Ball rolled across the top of the box, and now Bonomo will look to hold up play. He turns it over, and Flemings can run. Farrell trying to close him down, goes sliding in just after picking up that yellow card and makes the tackle perfectly. Rochester really heavy in numbers in that central midfield, competing with every ball, not giving New York a lot of space to pick out a pass. Bonomo, and his pass finds Basulovic, and now Flemings will try it, and it'll go wide. Gomez, the 2016 USL Goalkeeper of the Year. Following up Brandon Miller's 2015 Goalkeeper of the Year award, the Rochester Rhinos have won the last two. Miller, of course, now with Harrisburg City. Moved to Orange County last year, and Gomez stepped in and filled his spot. Cutler following from his right back position all the way across the field. Really, that's the first time Turgos touched the ball at all. Forbes, beautiful outside of the football. Camden breaks into the box. He guides that one out for a corner kick. So it'll be Turgu and Forbes over in that corner. Forbes with 4 assists and 34 chances created, leads the team one of the top 10 in USL, wearing that captain's armband. The right-footed service, in at the near post, headed away. Cutler initially. Set pieces are a danger for this New York team. Something Coach Wolnick keyed in on at the start of the game. Part of the decision to start Stefano Bonomo at center forward. His height can help defend on those set pieces. He's got a little bit of experience playing as a center back for this Red Bulls 2 squad. He went out last game right in between the 2 set piece goals they gave up against Louisville right after the first one. The second one coming on off a corner kick. A little bit of a limp there from DeFrieger. Dartmouth alumni. A lot of Ivy League presence here on the field between committed players and graduates. Charles Murphy now talking to, it looks like, Fall and Endom. Wall Fall having another huge season for this Rochester Rhinos team. DeFrieger curls it in. Headed away by Endom. Camden pushing forward. Gets by both defenders. Breaks into the box to the end line. Cuts it back. And cleared in the end once again by Hassan Endom. New York should feel lucky, though. 2 players out to defend Camden. He gets through both of them. We've seen this 5-4-1 so far for Rochester. Coach Lilly, though, said, don't be scared to change things up on the fly throughout the game. We've seen DeFrieger push higher and play alongside Groff at times. Soccer fans, Nike's an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com.
Some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date with all the latest league news and info by visiting USLsoccer.com and follow them on Twitter at USL.
You can see Coach Wolonek and Bob Lilly out on their touch lines. Wolonek has to be happy with the way this one started. For a team that struggled for consistency and results. A few big names out of the lineup today, especially Vincent Bezecourt. An early 1-0 lead. This New York team has just been so much better when they're able to start from a lead. When opposing teams get that early goal, they can sit back, take away any transition game for New York, force them to try and break down heavy numbers, which they struggle to do at times. Endom steps up, makes the initial interception. Now Scarlett over to cover for him. Calmly done by the Iona Gale. New York working through midfield now. The layoff from Velo. The long ball by Basulovic towards Bonomo. Back to the feet of Velo. He's got space to shoot. He doesn't get a whole lot on that left-footed shot, and it didn't matter because he was offside. Gorgeous build-up, though. From the back line through the midfield. Final ball over the top for Bonomo, who was offside. DeFrieger to Forbes. Forbes closed down early by Andrew Tenari. Diaz under pressure from Graff. DeFrieger now in a foot race with Scarlett. DeFrieger just gets there. The cross played in, a beautiful one over the head of Graff and into the arms of Rafi Diaz. New York has either been messy or risky a couple times coming out of their own defensive third. Now we see Wallfall doing what he does best for this team, ranging forward. He picked up a PK late in the game against Cincinnati and finished it off himself, charging into the box, though, putting defenders on their heels. Fall playing in his second year professionally here in the U.S. Coming over from his native Germany. following in the footsteps of his cousin Jermaine Jones out of Frankfurt, Germany, just 24 years old. He had 5 goals last year, including the goal in extra time against New York Red Bulls 2 in the postseason. Bounced around in Austria and lower divisions in Germany before that. He's become one of the stars of this league with this historic franchise. Scarlett turns it over just as I was about to say. Kami's looked on the ball. DeFrieger's shot is blocked by Powder. May have been a cross. And Diaz is over to handle it. Rafi Diaz, his 7th start in this game. He's got 3 shutouts in the 6 games he's already played. He's been a part of this New York Red Bulls 2 team since the very beginning, after spending a year at Orlando where he didn't get much playing time out of St. John's University. Fall now taking some liberties out of center back. Shigenobu steps up and turns it over. Velo looking for the slip ball to Bonomo, and it's off. Frager figure out how to get it out of the back. New York, as expected, with their patented high press. Anytime they can get Rochester on the ball in their own half. Now safely into the feet of Cutler. This is where New York struggled at times this year. You could see Tenari with his hand out, asking for an option. There's Velo now in a foot race. Just a lack of movement off the ball when teams sit back and don't pressure the ball. And for players in those deeper positions, like Pasulovic and Tenari and now Shigenobu, it's been tough to find options when last year Dan Metzger, Tyler Adams, and Speedy Williams were able to pick a lot of defenses apart from that similar position. Forbes and Tenari collide. Comes out in favor of New York. Vasulovic, great footwork in tight space. Now Tenari goes right to left. Scarlett has taken on a number of opposing players. Bonomo beats one defender. Now Velo trying to come over and keep it alive. Some confidence and flair from this New York team that we haven't seen all season.
Soccer fans, Nike is the official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com.
New York Red Bulls 2 hosting the Rochester Rhinos here at MSU Soccer Park. New York Red Bulls 2 coming in at 7-11-3, 8th place in the Eastern Conference on 24 points. Hosting the Rhinos, who are 8-3-8, 32 points, 5th in the USL Eastern Conference. So far, just the one early 5th-minute goal, the first ever of Arun Vasulovic's career. James takes it off the feet of Velo. No foul called against Powder. Bonomo can't get his touch clean. Both teams trying to play it out the back, straight up the middle, consistently so far. And yes, Bob Lilly and John Wolyniec are both up off their bench, ready to complain about that the moment they can get their team's ear. Fall keeps it cycling around the back line. Ryan Felix and Joe Farrell flanking fall. Felix on the ball out of Loyola Marymount. Played the first 2 years of his professional soccer for Orange County in the USL. That ball over the top, a little bit too wide.
Fans stay up to date on the latest USL news and info from around the league. Tune to USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays at 9 p.m. on Sirius XM FC Channel 85. Also, don't forget Sirius XM FC.
Fans stay up to date on the latest in the USL with USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts on Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Sirius XM FC Channel 85. The flag up once again as Charles Murphy calls it back. You can also listen to the USL Game of the Week on Sirius XM FC Channel 85. Go to uslsoccer.com to check out the schedule for that. Red Bulls 2 fans frustrated out here at MSU Soccer Park. That's the second time that an early flag has gone up from the AR, and our head official Charles Murphy's played on a bit before recognizing and calling play back. Unnecessarily dangerous play out of the back from Scarlett and Shigenobu. You see that deflected pass off Graf. Flemings and Velo have swapped wings now. Try and change up the Rochester attack. This one skips past Fall. Bonomo's cross hits Farrell's feet. And Dom closes on that one well. That foot, that ball just passed Cutler's feet and out. You can see the sun and shadows on the field. Shadows running that whole near side where the team benches are. How convenient for them. While everyone else is out here baking in the sun, getting a little bit of color. Velo and Bonomo showing clear intent to try and play off of each other. Work that ball. A couple 1-2s from them, including the play that led to the goal. Shigenobu's poise in that central midfield. Been something Coach Wolinek's noticed throughout the year. He feels like he can play with this at this level already. A high percentage passer. Bonomo's physicality wins the first header. Now Rochester on the ball. Scarlett with the interception. Great layoff from Basulovic. Bonomo can't turn. Up steps Tenari for the interception. Basulovic is going to go for the long strike. Playing on a little bit of confidence right now after his first professional soccer goal. Looking for the heat check on that one. Now Cutler comes up to throw it in. I think Cutler out of Colgate University. You see Basulovic's shot here. Bringing off the back of the Rochester defender. Velo and Dover challenging for this one. Velo wins the foot race and then he gets hacked down. It'll be a second free kick from a very similar spot for New York Red Bulls 2. Quickly taken. Shigenobu under some pressure. Rochester does well to push their lines out early on this one. Powder's got some space to curl one in. Curls it to the far post. Fleming's attacking. And the final touch from Camden goes out for a corner kick. Junior Flemings with a good run up to that one. Almost got his head to it. That ball finally cycled out to the dangerous left foot of Noah Powder. Camden, fortunate that Flemings was a step late on that one. Fleming's looking for his sixth goal of the year. Vasilovic goes short. Cutler with a chance. His ball hits off a defender, and it'll go out for another corner kick.
The USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in all the world.
This one will be taken from the other side.
Top talent and rising stars.
Final 10 minutes or so of this first half. New York Red Bulls 2 leading 1-0, trying to knock off Rochester Rhinos for the first time ever in the regular season. They were up 2-1 in the 93rd minute in April before tying 2-2, thanks to the head of Joe Farrell. Vasilovic will take this. Right-footed service comes in. Easily taken by Gomez. It was Sean Tosh last year in stoppage time to draw it up. Wall falling, Dos Santos in the playoffs. Joe Farrell in the opening game this season. Red Bulls 2 just do not have the solution for Rochester. Could this be the breakthrough? Off of Scarlett. Camden with some space to run forward. The feet of James. Felix for Forbes. Tenari hasn't given Forbes a whole lot of space. Nomo able to work the possession back for New York, turned over. DeFrieger's got one to his outside. Opportunity right now for Rochester. Back out wide for Dover. Turgu swapping over from the far left side for the first time in this one, picking up a little bit of the ball. It'll be Dover to throw it in. Jordan Scarlett throws his body around. I don't know that we've seen a player slide this much on this MSU Soccer Park turf as we've seen from Jordan Scarlett. Coach Woleneck's been very pleased with what he's gotten out of Scarlett so far this year. He said it kind of what they expected, but with the shoulder injury in preseason that kept him out for the first 7 or 8 weeks of the season. They couldn't be sure they'd get it back. Tweaked his hamstring as well once he finally returned. And now with full health, he's been a presence on that back line, and doesn't have natural height, but size and strength. He's able to find and dominate his space on the field. Also a great leaping ability. Graf in one-on-one. Diaz reads it well and comes out to take it. Turned over in a bad spot. James hacked down by Tenari. Ryan James playing in that central midfield role, his 19th start of the year. Another Ontario native, this one out of Bowling Green University. Very little surprise, it's Forbes over this one. New York sets up a 3-man wall. See if Forbes chooses to shoot. He goes for the far post. Put out for a corner kick by Scarlett. You'd think you'd try and put that one more central with the size advantage and aerial ability of this Rochester team in comparison to Red Bulls 2. Weakness in set piece defending. DeFrieger has floated in a little bit too far. Forbes trying to keep it alive. No one up the field for New York to play out of, as they now push their lines up. Camden goes all the way back to the feet of Gomez. Forbes pops up behind his Jamaican compatriot, Junior Flemings. Now it's Turgu. Camden leaves the ball behind him. Makes it easy defensively for New York. Fleming's chased down by DeFrieger. To the feet of Bonomo. The free kick goes in favor of New York, and you're always going to be slower with the ball than without, but before Junior Fleming's injury, there's a chance that with the ball, a lot of players would not be able to catch up to him like DeFrieger just did. Fleming still working his way back from that knee injury. 5 goals this season, a good return. 7 goals last year through September when he got hurt. Not the same explosions. Now he goes over the top to no one. As well as a different style that teams are forcing New York to play. Rather than last year where he and Derek Etienne Jr. really were able to find themselves in a couple track meets. They had room to be creative. Vasilovic has no one to his right. Comes back and gets it to Velo. Back into the middle. Noah Powders come forward. His left-footed shot is off the crossbar. Didn't hit it with power, but chipped under that ball. Had the perfect arc on it, just over the hand. Tomas Gomez. The Trinidad and Tobago Youth International. Looking for his first goal back with the team. Signed on a permanent contract for this USL side. After a number of trials over in Europe, deciding that this was his best spot to begin his pro career. Soccer fans, Nike's an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. Final moments of this first half. Quick start to this one. The 5th-minute goal by Arun Vasilovic. His first of his professional soccer career. Getting the start in a bit more of an advanced position. Bonomo gives up his body. And Vasilovic and Velo with their arms out. This is the right call, but potentially advantage could have been played. Although potential head injury is nerve-wracking, and this is it for Joe Farrell. He's about to get a red card. Charles Murphy has a yellow card out. Joe Farrell already has one in this game. Our official waiting for him to get up, and there's a second yellow and a red card. 44th minute red for Joe Farrell. He got his first yellow card in the 16th minute.
Yellow card has been issued to Rochester Rhinos. Number 15,
And that is
Joe
a
Farrell,
huge call here.
44th minute.
Late in the first half, a 1-0 lead for New York Red Bulls 2.
Results in a red card.
And now Joe Farrell starting center back. The man who scored the stoppage time equalizer against New York in April to keep Rochester unbeaten in the regular season against New York. He's now off with 2 yellow cards. Coming back, he puts a little bit of a low shoulder, but he's late to that ball, and it's head-to-head stuff. Ugly and painful. Our head official, Charles Murphy, had 0 questions about that one. He immediately took those cards out and just waiting for Farrell to be able to get up. For him to then issue that second yellow. It's definitely late on the play. Whether it was just dangerous foul accumulation or malicious. Farrell's day is done, and Rochester will have to try and come back in this one down a man. Felix and Wall Fall will play in center back now. What you expect will be a four-man back line, so they'll switch most likely to a 4-4-1. Shoe on the other foot now for Rochester. Their opponents picked up a red card in their last 2 games. FC Cincinnati finishing with 9 men in the end. A red card, the first one coming at a similar time to this one. And then 2 weeks ago, an early red card as well for TFC2. As Rochester hosted them in a 2-0 victory. As I mentioned, they haven't lost a game since July 1st. We're into stoppage time now this first half. New York Red Bulls 2 in full control. We've got a 1-0 lead off the 5th minute goal from Basulovic now. 43rd minute red card. They haven't given up any clear opportunities yet. DeFrieger able to earn a corner kick, and set pieces are huge now. For Rochester, it was already one of their biggest advantages coming into this one. Playing down a man might be their best few looks at a goal. DeFrieger's right-footed service. Falls to Wallfall. Still alive in the box, and finally cleared a little bit by Endom. Wallfall had his hands out asking for a penalty. This one's clipped straight up into the air. Seemed like for a moment, no one on the field knew where the ball was. Endom, fortunate for New York, was the first one to it. Bernardo Farbs won't take this one for the first time. It'll be Turgu, and he slipped on his delivery. And that'll be the last play of the first half. Well, I said it off the top, when these two teams face off, it is never straightforward and it's never simple. A number of stoppage time equalizer does here in the second half. Trailing a goal and trailing by a man. New York Red Bulls 2 comes out with some early pressure right off the kickoff. Goes wide to the feet of Noah Powder. To Velo. Under you on the near side, who earns the free kick. Basulovic has taken over set piece duties for the most part in replacement of Bezecourt, which another reason why this win would be so massive. To get a win at home against probably your biggest rival, a team you've never beaten, but to do it without your best player. Is this one quickly taken? Gomez punches it off the head of Endom, who's down holding his face in the middle of the box. Charles Murphy stops the play. It was a tricky free kick. Powder putting it down. Basulovic hitting it immediately, trying to catch the defense off guard.
On Sirius XM FC Channel 85 on Mondays at 9 p.m. For the latest news and info
Communicating with his
from around the league.
sideline referee. And now bringing on the athletic trainer to check on Endom. Endom will have to go off, as the potential head injury means he has to go through the concussion protocol to be allowed to return back on the field after being checked. Rochester has their entire bench up, warming up behind Rafi Diaz's goal now, as New York Red Bulls 2 will go right to left in their home white shirt on your television screen. Rochester in their away greens will go left to right. David Najim losing his starting role, being one of the leaders on this team in minutes played, now that Noah Powder's back and Ethan Cutler's come into a little bit of health. Dover's ball over the top towards Forbes. This Rochester team is extremely dangerous still. Graspin in good goal scoring form up top. He's got the build to hold off a center back or two and allow his team to push their lines up. Bernardo Forbes, one of the best creative players in the league, can really make something out of nothing. And we'll see how these wingbacks push into the attack now that their team is man down. Camden and Dover have been liberal in getting forward so far. Can they maintain that now without Joe Farrell on the field? See Bob Lilly right there on the right side of your camera. We'll see what he tries to do. Bob Lilly, an absolute legend in soccer here in North America. From Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, not far from here. George Mason grad. Really made his name, though, in both indoor soccer and the USL. It's just a bit too long. Winning championships with the Hershey Impact. He's coach of the year with the Hershey Wildcats in the A-League at the time. Lost the 2001 final to these Rochester Rhinos. Went and won a Canadian championship with Montreal after that. A USL championship with the Vancouver Whitecaps in 2006. Before returning and winning a USL regular season and postseason championship in 2015. As I mentioned, his assistant, Mark Pulisic, as well as his goalkeeper coach, alongside him on this one, Brendan Murphy. Sulovic coming back, wins back possession for his side. Chance maybe for this New York attack to kick into high gear here in the second half with that man advantage. Sofiane Tergu out of Strasbourg, France, and SNHU, one of two players on this Rochester squad that went to both Southern New Hampshire University and came from Strasbourg. It's not exactly a common path to most people. Ryan Bukimia as well on the bench. Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Sirius XM FC Channel 85. And don't forget, Sirius XM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. Check out USLsoccer.com. A little special today, the PDL Championships going on. One of the largest divisions of soccer, I think, in the world. A great program that allows college players to get a taste of the professional scene during the summers in between their seasons, but remain college eligible. Some of the best soccer you can watch in the country. PDL play. Mike Watts will be on the call for that one. Tenari's able to force the turnover. Pasulovic, plenty of space, goes around James, but James did just enough to hold him up, and then makes the tackle at the feet of Flemings right in front of the crowd. They're not happy. New York goes short quickly. Now Basulovic has some time and space to cross it. Looking for Bonomo's head. It was played perfectly, but Bonomo just got under it a little bit too much. Couldn't tuck it under the crossbar. It was a dime from Basulovic, like a quarterback out there. On the far right side. And his receiver down the middle. Bonomo, that would have been 2 goals in 3 games, 2 and 2 starts. If he puts one away, he went 68 minutes against Louisville. I think a little bit of a surprise that he got past the 60th minute. There's no hard time limit. Coach Wolnick said it's just about reading his fitness. Tergu's got a lane to run into the feet of DeFrieger. And now a free kick called, an offside called against DeFrieger. So we'll have to watch Bonomo's stamina now the next 10 or so minutes to see how much he can give Coach Wolnick. Zico Lewis, the first-round pick out of Boston College, is on the bench, who can come on, as is Zaire Bartley, a Red Bull Academy player, but out of high school. His professional and soccer future still up in limbo. Jordan Ballon, Tim Schmoll, 2 defenders on the bench, and then David Najim. Any of those players can come on. And one thing Coach Wolenek has plenty of is flexibility. He can slide Flemings up top. He can slide Velo up top. He can change up formations. He can move Cutler up the field or Najim. Nomo lays it back for Shigenobu. Trying to clip it in for Velo. Powder gets it wide to Florian. Expect this New York team that likes the high press to not give Rochester very many easy chances to clear their lines. Endom looks to go long. Wall goes back to Gomez, which is what Velo was trying to bank on, Basulovic. Fall got lucky. Jordan Scarlett showing off every bit of that athleticism there. At his hip up next to Graf's head. Cutler's got plenty of time and space. To the feet, Basulovic, one touch through for Flemings. That ball holds up perfectly. Flemings tries to get by Camden, curls the left-footed shot, and it goes well wide. We'll go right into our booth. Our video truck. So if all of a sudden replays begin of plays from past games, that's because the ball's sitting on the machine. Junior Flemings showing why he's in the conversation for the Jamaican first team. This one flicked on accidentally. Bonomo in a foot race with Fall. He gets it to his right foot and puts it in. Stefano Bonomo, the captain's armband, back from injury. 2 goals in 2 starts. 2 goals in 3 games here in 2017. And Cal Berkeley, man, up into the crowd. He is absolutely loving life right now. It was a mistaken back, only touch, not even purposeful pass from the Rochester defense. Bonomo didn't need to be asked twice on that one.
New York Red Bulls 2-goal, scored by number 29, Stefano Bonomo.
It's a 2nd goal of the
In
year.
the 56th minute, Bonomo in the 56th minute.
And so now New York takes a 2-goal lead. Rochester down a man, now down 2 goals. It's looking very promising for New York Red Bulls too. You've got to think Bonomo's afternoon might be done soon. Let him finish on a high. Another good, about 60 or so solid minutes for New York Red Bulls too. He's been a difference maker. Not just those goals, but you can see a bit more swagger offensively and connection on this team. It's a coincidence that you've got a captain playing at center forward as Cutler gets a clean volley. Cuts across that ball and curls it wide. The all-star skills challenge for Ethan Cutler there as the clouds cover up the sun just for a moment. Out here at MSU Soccer Park in Montclair, New Jersey. If you have a chance, come on out in 2 weeks to watch the U.S. Open Cup semifinalists FC Cincinnati take on New York Red Bulls 2. Only 3 home games left, depending on potential playoffs. If New York can find a way into the top half of the standings. Velo runs away from Dover. For the feet of Basulovic. Has a second chance now. Flemings gets by 1 defender. Still in the box, still alive. Plays it back across, and Gomez is able to get it into his hands. Junior Fleming's looking like the Flemings of old. Got to the box. Absolutely left Fall in his dust. With that tight touch. Got around Gomez, just wasn't able to get it under control before he hit that end line. Basulovic gets it to Powder coming forward. New York really starting to feel it in the attack. This Fall now has to put it out for a corner kick. Below got 2 looks at that one. Flemings just could not hold it up before losing his angle. It'll be Basulovic to take from that far side. Right-footed service to the far post. Bonomo's there. And a free kick will go against New York. It's like Camden on the ground for the Rhinos. Gomez, Georgetown University leader in clean sheets and wins. Played alongside Brandon Allen, Alex Mule, and Arun Basulovic, as well as Philadelphia Union star Keegan Rosenberry. One of the best college soccer teams I've ever seen. Still a ton of talent down at Georgetown with Kyle Zajac and a few more players. Powder now charges forward. Fall with the interception. He wants to restart the attack the other way. Wall Fall in stride for stride with Kennardo Forbes. We've got DeFrieger to the side, going in for the feet of Graff. Fall wide open on the top of the box, but DeFrieger looking for the lead runner, Graff. So it'll be the first substitution of the game.
In the 61st minute.
Sofian Tergu, a quiet one for him.
Replacing number 10, Sofian Tergu.
It will be Jalen Brown to come on.
21, Darius
Jalen Brown drafted by NYCFC in the 2017 MLS Super Draft out of Xavier University. Scored the goal of the combine.
And Madison in.
Trying to show off.
Tergu and
Patrick Vieira high on him along with Kwame Awuah. Awuah able to, in the end, make the team as well as the Canadian Gold Cup roster. Jalen Brown starting his professional career with Rochester. Forbes able to play this one through. Brown, his first touch of the game. It's a little bit long, and Scarlett puts it out for a corner. Jalen Brown brings a lot of attacking ability and creativity on the wing to this team. The type of fresh legs that Bob Lilly is hoping for. Corner kick coming now. Forbes to take. Goes off the head of Fall and out. Soccer fans, Nike's an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. Bonomo and Fall collide. Bonomo goes down holding that left knee. Not what you want to see if you're part of the New York Red Bulls 2 family. Now Bonomo turns, gets it to the feet of Flemings, who's offside. Dennis Hamlet, the head decision maker in all things soccer for New York Red Bulls family. Walking alongside the sideline now, in front of the fans. A lot to smile about today. He told this team when they got their championship rings right before the game against Harrisburg City at Red Bull Arena early on in April that it's a lot harder the second run around. Now you've got a target on your back. New York Red Bulls definitely know that that's true. They've given up 39 goals this season. They only conceded 21 all of last year. This has been one of their brightest performances so far. Velo gets into the box, still in possession, finally cleared off his foot. And now Dover up to the substitute Brown.
New York Red Bulls 2 substitution in the 64th minute. Entering the match, number 12, Zico Lewis.
Zico Lewis will come on for Bonomo now.
Bonomo.
Stefano Bonomo in his third game back from injury. His second start, his second straight goal. An important one to give this team some breathing room. The 55th minute strike through the arms of Gomez in that one-on-one situation. So his comeback continues. Zico Lewis right off the bench, getting his legs stretched. Lewis, the first round pick, number 17 out of Boston College. Already a full international with Bermuda. Jalen Brown turns that ball over. Lewis scored the first ever goal here at MSU Soccer Park in an opening season 1-0 win over the Richmond Kickers for New York Red Bulls 2. Displaced out of the lineup though about a month and a half later, and he's still working his way back off the bench. Shigenobu has looked calm and composed in his first home start, just his second career pro start. Jalen Brown gets a hand up on Shigenobu's head. Fleming's dribbling into 4 or 5 green bodies there. And now New York pressing Rochester out of the back. The crowd really getting into this one. And Dom and Graff in a battle, and Graff gets the call from Charles Murphy. I don't think you can say that the referees decided this one, even though he gave 2 first-half yellow cards to Joe Farrell. The first one coming directly after Shigenobu got a yellow card. So he already showed his hand. That's how he was going to call the game, and New York was already up 1-0. Lewis coming into this one right up to speed for New York, which you have to love to see as a coach. To the feet of Lewis once again. The connection between him and Junior Flemings. Brown didn't look like he kept it in. Finally, the call was made. Tonari quietly has had a very good game in midfield. He's played higher than Shigenobu. Was fantastic defensively. Making sure he didn't give any space for Conrado Forbes to hurt this New York Red Bulls 2 team, and has been active in the attack as well. Cutler with a dipping cross, bouncing into the arms of Gomez. The sun really starting to beat down on the field here. There was more cloud cover in the first half. And I mean for me, of course, not for the players. I think fit enough to deal with it. So over 20 minutes left to play in regular time. New York are looking for their first regular time victory over the Rochester Rhinos in USL play. The Rhinos have had their number throughout this franchise's short existence. Brown's able to keep it in. Forbes now, and once again, who is it but Tenari right alongside Forbes, pushing him wide. Dover comes forward. So it'll be a corner kick. There's a penalty kick called. This is a huge game-changing moment. This is a chance for Rochester to get themselves halfway back here at MSU Soccer Park. Darius Madison on that far side earns the penalty kick. Wallfall scored 2 PKs last week. Laid on against FC Cincinnati. One, the first one he rolled basically right down the middle. The second one off to his left a little bit, but similarly hit on the ground with not a ton of power, which Hildebrandt couldn't save either of them. We'll see what happens here. Debate still going on. They were challenging where maybe the foul took place outside the box. No VAR in this one. Charles Murphy's had an active game, a red card, now a penalty kick, a 2-0 lead for New York. Rochester's always dramatically come back against them. And fall shot goes off the hands of Diaz and in. Clearly, Rafi Diaz watched the tape from last week against FC Cincinnati. Wallfall hit it very similarly. Diaz not able to get down on the ground quick enough. And we've got a 2-1 game here. Goes under the body of Rafi Diaz. He won't get his 4th shutout of the season, although I'm sure he'd be happy with a win. Kazu Shigenobu goes off now.
37, David Najem. Replacement number
In place
53,
of
Kazu Shigenobu.
the Clifton native
For Shigenobu
David Najem.
in the 71st minute.
The second substitution used by Coach Wolonek. A big 72 minutes of action. Kazu Shigenobu, just an academy player for New York Red Bulls. On loan here. Darius Madison's made a difference so far. He continued to do so down there on the far side. Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune in to USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on SiriusXM FC, Channel 85. You can also get the USL Game of the Week on SiriusXM FC, Channel 85. Just go to USLsoccer.com to check the schedules there. Final 20 minutes to play here at MSU Soccer Park. And as I promised you off the top, it will be eventful. It always is when these two teams face off. It's never straightforward. Headed up into the box. Lewis gets to the second ball, but Jalen Brown keeps possession. Camden clipping it over for Forbes. Cleared out by New York. A 5th minute goal by New York. 43rd minute red card to Joe Farrell. And then a late Stefano Bonomo goal. And penalty kick goal. A wall fall. Fouled there. Here's a free kick for Rochester. You'd think Rochester will try and get some bodies in the box every time they can. Noah Powder's down behind the play. See, he'll need to be assisted by a trainer here.
The USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world, featuring some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date with all the latest league news and information by visiting USLsoccer.com
Arun Basulovic
and follow them on Twitter @USL.
Scoring his first career professional soccer goal in the 5th minute. Had this team flowing offensively. They've slowed up a bit since their second goal, and now only a slimmest of leads in this one. Powder walks off with the trainer, and we'll see if there's any substitution coming. Looks like Tim Schmoll is up off the bench. Seeing your shot there, the big Swiss defender. Free kick taken low by Forbes. He can't save it. Goes out for a New York throw-in, which Powder will take immediately. So we'll see who Schmoll comes in for. Still talking to Coach Wolonek on that far side, getting directions. See if maybe a formation change coming for New York. It's been a quiet, lonely game for Johan Graf. Cutler tries to pass it around Brown. Brown shows off his speed. Tenari with the bad touch. Brown doesn't have a lot of support, but he charges forward himself. Forbes picks up the second ball. Looking for the feet of Graf. Graf with the outside of the right foot. Rafi Diaz makes the save. Not sure what was going on frame, but has to be safe there, and Noah Powder will be finished here. Tim Schmoll will come on for him. So that the last substitution for New York. We'll see what happens here. A few options available. Schmoll could go in as center back, could push Scarlett out to left back. He could also push David Najim out to left back. Someone would have to step into central midfield though. We'll see what happens, or Tim Schmoll could go in at left back. We've seen him play at fullback this season, but his size on set pieces, which Wolonek was so worried about, it affected his decision in starting Stefano Bonomo. Tim Schmoll, 6'7" size, pretty useful for this. Forbes puts Diaz right on his line. To handle it though. Final 15 minutes to play here. Graf with his first real good look of the game. Just short of that near post. Ball over the top for Velo. Tenari can't follow it up. Forbes now starting to tilt that matchup a little bit more in his favor. Felix's pass goes straight out. For New York, they travel next week to Charleston on the road before they're home against FC Cincinnati. Schmoll gets his first touch, so it will be Scarlett at left back. Rochester, it's a tight turnaround, a Tuesday matchup on the road against Harrisburg City. They won't have Joe Farrell for that one. Vasilovic beats 2 defenders and then is walled off by the third. To that stretch run now into August and September. Every team clawing for that playoff spot. So Park Rangers showing last year, if you can just get in, you have the ability to make a dent in the postseason. New York, of course, winning the whole thing at home after finishing #1 in the league. Very rare that teams that finish on top are able to continue it all the way throughout the the postseason. Vasilovic takes this one. A lot of pressure on Gomez. He handles it. Madison collides with Schmoll. Schmoll, another part of that Ivy League contingent out of Harvard. Grew up in Switzerland playing his international school. We're playing basically every position for Harvard along the center of the field, center back, center mid, center forward. He's been a center back for New York, was a part of their U23 team while he was in college, gave the franchise a chance to see him play. The New York Red Bulls U23 team this year, undefeated in regular season play. They don't have full rights to every player on that team. Some they are grooming for other squads, but still, a player like Schmoll, a first chance to see them in a professional environment. Zico Lewis closes quickly, blocks Felix's pass, not enough power on it to beat Gomez. Lewis has been a bright spot off the bench. Another promising sign in this game for New York. Second half a bit more labored than the first one for New York. Surprising considering they were man up the entire half. How often do we see that team man down with maybe a bit more to play for? Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. He has another free kick go against him. Now Vasilovic and Canardo Forbes get in a fight. Both teams looking to separate them, although Hassan Endam comes charging in. This seems like a silly time for your New York Red Bulls to lose your head. Canardo Forbes and Junior Flemings, both Jamaican internationals, with arms around each other. And Vasilovic has to be careful. Charles Murphy has called this game very tight. You're right in front of the AR, you're right in front of the fourth official. As these two now shake hands. Murphy calls them over anyway. Got his fourth official, Luis Arroyo, who was right in front of the play over to talk. We've seen a red card already to Joe Farrell in the 43rd minute. A penalty kick that went in favor of Rochester as well here in the 70th minute. And we'll see how this one ends. Forbes doesn't look super happy with the conversation, wearing the captain's armband for Rochester. Coach Wolenek and Bob Lilly standing right there. Charles Murphy's just issued straight red cards to both sides. Coach Wolenek beside himself, just a few feet away on the sideline. So this game's gonna end 10-9. An 83rd minute, straight red.
Number 11, Canardo Forbes.
The captain, Canardo Forbes, sent off for Rochester.
Red cards to Forbes and Vasilovic.
Arun Vasilovic got his first career goal and his first career red card. Plenty of room for these two teams to play, as this game right now is 10 against 9 here at MSU Soccer Park. We have hit your average Rochester Rhinos, New York Red Bulls 2 levels of insanity. These two teams, you can tell it's a true rivalry. Both sides just lose their heads every time they play against each other, and they just play on pure passion and energy. So Fall now takes over the armband. Vasilovic out at central midfield. We expect them to go into a 4-4-1 now. So Lewis and Velo will drop a little bit deeper. For Rochester, they need a goal. I've got no idea what they're going to play. Scarlett sees this one out. We're going to have a heavy amount of stoppage time. The penalty kick decision that took a while, a goal for New York, a couple of half injuries, and now a double red card. Canardo Forbes and Arun Vasilovic. You just don't see this every day. 3 red cards in a game. As I said, Rochester's been on the other side of this scenario a little bit. 2 red cards to FC Cincinnati last week, 1 to Toronto 2 weeks ago. They won both those games, now losing. 2 red cards to them, 1 to New York. This really hurts both these teams, as I said. Rochester's got a tight turnaround Tuesday night against Harrisburg. They don't have the deepest roster, and now they're missing their starting center back and their captain and best creative player. On the flip side for New York, Arun Vasilovic, one of his best games as a professional. And he'll miss the matchup against Charleston, and we'll see how much more those two miss as well. Lewis can't get back to that ball. And Dover will try and play it out of the back. This also hurts the ability of Wall Fall here on the ball to roam as much. It's hurt all game because Joe Farrell's not there to cover for him and allow him to float forward. Work from Lewis. New York would love to keep the ball for a little while here and see this game out. They get it wide to Velo. Velo gets a shot away, and Gomez knocks it down and then handles it. New York Red Bulls 2, in their 3rd year of existence, have never beat the Rochester Rhino in a regular season game. They were up 2-1 in the 93rd minute in April to open up the season. Joe Farrell scored to make it a 2-2 final in stoppage time. And Loro caught well off his line off a free kick from about midfield. Just a floated ball in, and Farrell's towering header from the top of the 18 finding the empty net. Saw it last year as well, a couple stoppage time equalizers, including the 3-3 extra time game in the playoffs. The Red Bulls 2-1 in penalty kicks. Cutler trying to clip it for Flemings. Lewis picks up the second ball, the tackle made by Felix. He had to make that play with the California native. I think Rochester's basically playing a 3-2-3 formation at this point.
Rochester
And the final sub coming now. Bradley Camden will come off. Todd Pratzner also a fullback coming on.
Pratzner for Camden Feo in the 88th minute.
So Camden, DeFrieger, Sofian Tergu, all with short days. See if Pratzner can help out at all. Another big, strong player to get into the box, as he will right now. You see charging up the field, the right of your camera. Be Bradley James to take Dover, the only one out of the play. Surprised not to see Gomez go forward, as he's just about the midfield circle. Does Rochester have another last gasp free kick equalizer in them? Madison rising up on the far post, can't direct it on goal. This would be a huge win for this New York Red Bulls 2 team to keep them in the playoff picture for another week. Get them 4 points for the season against Rochester. No Vincent Bezecourt in this one with the injury. Brandon Allen gone for the season. Douglas Martinez a late scratch for this team. And Lauro starting on the bench after his midweek trip for the homegrown game. And Derek Etienne Jr. now with this side. New York Red Bulls 2 up 2-1 right now over Rochester in the battle of the last two USL Cup champions. Cut back across everyone there. It looked like Velo. No one anticipating it. Velo wearing the armband as he did last week. He did from the start against Louisville. This week he took it over after Stefano Bonomo went to the bench. Bonomo's 55th minute goal looked like New York was going to be cruising, as we get official confirmation that it will be a minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time. But after that Bonomo goal, the penalty kick, that fall put away, and then the red card to Basulovic. Tanari breaks the pressure. He's got Lewis to his right. Lewis cutting in field. He clips a pass to no one, as Scarlett now is caught all the way forward. With the clearance out the back, finds Schmoll. The tackle goes straight to David Najim. Najim you'd expect to move back into the starting lineup next game, although maybe in center midfield with Basulovic out. Scarlett gets by the first offender. Dover goes to ground. It's still alive. Scarlett uses his physicality. Now to the feet of Najim. Najim and Cutler looking to link up. Tanari and Najim. And this intelligently done from New York, as the clouds roll in and cover up the sun. New York's going to be in no rush now. Only 9 players on the field for Rochester. Not a lot they can do. Scarlett gets possession back. Through ball in for Zico Lewis. One-on-one. Crosses it for Flemings. Flemings in a battle, and he can't get a shot away. Zico Lewis, very friendly from him to try and set up Flemings. Tanari pushing forward now. Lewis is offside. And Flemings maybe wasn't anticipating it. Just couldn't get his feet right. Well defended by Felix. That could have been it for New York. Now they've got to hang on nervously for 3 or 4 more minutes. Endom wins the first ball. Bodies now with Jalen Brown. And the foul goes against Brown. He's got his arms out in disbelief. If you're Rafi Diaz right now, there's no reason risking it with Charles Murphy. He's giving out red cards as quick as some give out yellows in this game. Don't want to take a risk. Flemings goes up. This challenges James. Wind really starting to blow here. Fall playing more of his freelancer role as we've come to see this year. Now Dover pushes forward, out wide to Madison. Jordan Scarlett, whether he's a fullback or a center back, he loves defending one-on-one. Great lateral movement. His strength allows him to win any 50-50 duel if he can slow up an attacker. Fall heads it back out wide. Rochester wants to get one cross in. They do. Wide open on the far post was Jalen Brown if he could get over everyone. Now Flemings can't get a touch to it. Perfectly played wide by Felix on his first touch. James clips it over. Scarlett falls, and he puts it behind his own goal while on the ground. As risky a moment as you can have. Corner kick coming now. Starting to follow the usual script. Rochester late set piece goals to tie the New York Red Bulls to. New York Red Bulls change it this time. Diaz gets a hand to it and puts it out. Another corner kick coming. Or excuse me. A goal kick called. A perfect outcome for New York Red Bulls too. This is Scarlett. You don't love the slip, but if you're a coach, you love the reactions instinctively to that high pressure situation. What a touch from Velo to bring it down, but Dover's stride for stride with him. Tenari wins it back. Zico Lewis gets wide for Flemings. His shot hits softly and taken by Gomez. New York's been knocking on the door, and they finally get through against the Rochester Rhinos, their first ever USL regular season win against the side from just up north. New York Red Bulls to face their demons and come out on top for the first time ever. Arun Basulovic's opens his professional soccer account. The early goal. Stefano Bonomo continues to work his way back from injury with his second goal in his second straight start. 3 red cards between the two teams.